Hello, and welcome to the recording of the Champion Live session on bereavement. This is the session for people who couldn't make it to the live session today. So I hope you enjoy the content of our final education session. This recording is going to be sent out via the usual email settings, and we'll put the password down there too, and it will be available for about 4 months. I just want to start off by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land in which I'm recording today, and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. For the reference of the people in the live session, that's how you work Zoom. All right, so bereavement, what is it? Well, grief and bereavement. Grief is a loss, as a response to loss, and it can affect all parts of a person's life. And bereavement is the time of grief experienced by people following the death of somebody close to them. So these things are similar, but not the same. If somebody dies in your facility, how best are you, can you help them? Well, some practical things you can do are to create a memorial by doing or making something to honor the resident. You could develop meaningful rituals, such as lighting a candle while listening to music. You can allow the residents to express their thoughts and feelings by writing letters, poems, or collecting photos. You could promote regular exercise, such as walking or gardening, to help use up pent-up energy and enable better sleeping patterns. You could do things with residents that are relaxing and soothing. You can promote sharing and talking with other compassionate people, and that can reduce the sense of isolation and loneliness that can come with grief. You can talk to each other about the death of the resident using appropriate language, using terms like "he has died" rather than "he has gone," which can be difficult and to understand and interpret sometimes. And you can explore other people's grief experiences through books, movies, and articles. Here is a resource from Phoenix, Australia, on trauma, loss and grief in older people, and the sort of signs that you may need to look out for the residents in your facility are physical changes, like the not sleeping well, not eating, regular headaches and stomach upsets, the residents feeling down or less interested in activities, spending more time alone, being tearful, feeling tense or on edge, restless, anxious and irritable, problems remembering or finding it hard to concentrate and forgetting things if that's not normal for them, difficulty managing feelings, sudden emotional outbursts, physical or verbal aggression, and being upset by memories, a strong reaction of when something reminds them of a loss, trauma, bad dreams, refusing to talk about someone that they lost. These are all indications that maybe some extra help for that person would be timely. Getting a GP or a geriatrician to refer on to perhaps counselling or in some cases medication may be needed for these residents if you find that they're really struggling. Some of the broader ways in which you can support somebody who is grieving are to just be there, which is one of the most important things you can do for a grieving person. It's just support and caring presence that will help them cope with the pain and sadness that they feel. If you can't think of something to say, a reassuring hug may be helpful, but check with them first. Being a good listener, so concentrating your efforts on listening carefully without judgment and with compassion, and let the grieving person know that it's okay to cry or not cry, or to get angry or to be distressed. Grief can be a highly emotional experience, so the bereaved may need to feel free to express their feelings. Some people may prefer to keep their feelings more private. Grief is often described as an emotional roller coaster. Someone who has just experienced a death may feel fine 1 minute and then overcome with emotion the next. And that is a normal part of the grieving process. If you are able to make the space to let bereaved people talk about the death, people who are grieving may need to tell the story of the death over and over again, and sometimes in detail. Be patient. Repeating the story is a way of processing the death. Assure the person it's okay to talk about their thoughts and feelings, and offer comfort and reassurances. Tell the bereaved person that what they're feeling is okay. If you've gone through a similar loss, you can share your own experience if you're comfortable with that and if you think it would help. Keep in mind that grief is individual and personal, and it's important to respect each other's way of grieving, even if we don't fully understand it. Saying the deceased's name is important as well. As time passes, the bereaved person may be most likely glad to know the deceased person is remembered. Avoiding platitudes, so avoid saying things like they're in a better place, or it's God's will, or at least she's no longer suffering, because these statements rarely provide comfort. And sharing memories, so if you knew the deceased person, sharing photos and stories about them in a note or an email or in person with the bereaved. And most bereaved people appreciate it when others remember and value the significance of their loss. Not knowing what to say to somebody in order to comfort them, who, especially when they've experienced a death, may feel awkward. So here are some suggestions you might want to try. Acknowledging the situation, so saying, I hear that your friend or relative died, and using the word died can be helpful here. Using the name of the deceased also tells the bereaved person you acknowledge the significance of their loss. Expressing your concerns, so I'm saying like, I'm so sorry for the loss of Bruce or whatever his name is, and being genuine in your communication. So if you're not sure what to say, I'm not sure what to say, but I want you to know that I care. When we're grieving or supporting someone who is grieving, our own needs may sometimes be neglected. Listening and sharing to someone's pain can be personally demanding and exhausting. Make sure you have support for yourself and that you're not stopping yourself from grieving, and that your own experiences of loss may be triggered by this experience, and it's something to be aware of. It's a common myth that people will get over their grief. What happens is that part of us will probably always grieve for the person who has died, and in time the pain will lessen, but the sorrow we feel will always be a part of us. There's no real return to normal. Instead, we learn to live with the new kind of normal. We relearn our world and relearn ourselves within it. Although grief can be very painful, most people find that the support of family and friends and their own resources can help them gradually find ways to live with the loss. And they may not need to seek professional help. However, sometimes circumstances of a death are very distressing, such as a traumatic or sudden death that may make the grief chronic or prolonged. You might suggest to your friend, relative, or colleague to seek professional help if over time they seem to be finding it difficult to manage their day-to-day life. This slide helps with some ideas of self-care and how we can support ourselves and others through any sort of stressful time. And as you can see, self-care has a tendency to encompass a lot of different areas of one's life, physical, emotional, social, and spiritual. And there are things that you can do within some and all of these areas. And it's about picking and choosing what works best for you and what you find most comforting and what tops you up the most. Some practical ideas of self-care ideas that work from the LDAC website, which you can get from LDAC if you want to get more details. And LDAC do have a self-care room that they have developed, and it's a fairly new and recent resource on their website, and there's lots of interactive and useful resources on there. I encourage you to have a look at it. Things that they're suggesting, 5 practical things they're suggesting are to take a break, actually push yourself to have a proper break. It'll help you to continue caring. To breathe deeply, so practicing deep breathing and putting it into practice when you're stressed can help you relax. I always recommend to people with even chronic respiratory issues that it's good to practice these breathing and relaxation techniques when you're not in a state of distress, so that when you need to pull on those skills, you've already got a bit of learned skill there that you can pull on without having to take too much of your energy to do so. Staying hydrated, keeping a water bottle with you if you can, and remembering to drink throughout the day. Getting to know your workmates will help you to connect and look out for each other, and appreciate yourself. Remind yourself that your care matters, and pause and think about how your work is making a difference to other people. Do you need some inspiration on how you might be able to promote good self-care in your facility? These are some things that other people have suggested on the LDAC website. Each day you might want to think about something that happened that made you feel good. If you're feeling really overwhelmed, maybe someone got angry and shouted, you can get up and go outside and just take a walk and do some breathing. If somebody new starts, check in on them and make sure that they're doing okay. Somebody was a home care worker saying knowing where the clean public toilets are on the route to their clients were really important for them. As a home care worker also, the recommendation was to have a favourite song playlist that can help that person sort of debrief and have a mental break between clients. And sharing information about yourself with your co-workers means that if they know you well enough, they'll be better able to notice if you need help and how to help you. There are lots of websites and places you can go for grief and bereavement support if you if yourself or you find that somebody else is really struggling and needs just that little bit extra support. The Australian Centre for Grief and Bereavement has a lot of resources and also courses that you can go online, which are really good. But also, you know, there's the Salvation Army and Grief Link and lots of other resources available to you. Some useful ways that organisations can help support their staff in facilities are to raise awareness among staff that death is a natural part of life, and many people die in aged care each year. Caring for older people as they die is part of the service that aged care provides. Making time for staff to talk about their feelings following a death. Support staff to attend a resident's funeral if they wish to do so. Communicate with staff about a resident's death. Acknowledge the resident who has died by forming an honour guard. Setting aside time during staff meetings to remember residents who have died. Allow the time of death of a resident, allow time after the death of a resident before placing a new resident into the room. Setting up a remembrance table or a card for staff to write special messages and share fond memories with family members. Creating a quiet space for staff to take time out. Organising discussions with staff about their comfort with death and dying. Offer staff opportunities to access free counselling services. For home care workers, letting them know that where the client has been moved and when they transfer to the aged care facility, including kitchen, cleaning and administration staff in any rituals, because they interact with the residents too. Key points from this presentation are that the grieving person may not need answers or advice, but maybe just listening to him or her may give them the greatest comfort. Let the grieving person know that grieving is a natural response to loss, and spend time with the person in a gentle and unhurried way. Using phrases such as "I'm awfully sorry for your loss" are helpful, and take the time to listen to their responses and what they want to say. With regards to our case study, Penny is the lady that we've been looking after throughout this journey. She was an 87-year-old lady, and she died peacefully during our Managing Dying module last month. So we're going to be looking at her family's and the facility's grief process. With regards to Penny's family and her friends and the aged care staff in the facility, we're going to open up in the live session about how we can best support and manage bereavement as a facility. So I'm going to pause the recording now just so that we can do that as a live group. Have a little think about this if you're watching the recording at home, because I think it's going to be very useful and something that you can bring to your facility. This week's homework activity is the Palliaged Self-Care Plan, which the link to was sent in the email at the beginning of the month, but I can add again to the notes that we send off with this recording. Caring for others can be rewarding. However, staff working in aged care they look after many people who die, and it might be really hard to accept loss, especially when it's recurrent. You want to be looking out for if you're finding it hard to sleep or no longer enjoying your work or feeling tired. This can affect you and your family, and self-care is what we do to maintain balance in our life. A self-care plan is based on what you like to do and what helps for you. So with regards to your self-care plan, there are four areas in which you may want to do work in your self-care plan. Workplace self-care can include things like regular meetings with supervisors or more experienced colleagues, or you could make a support group with the people you work with or attend training programs. Physical self-care may involve activities in order to help stay fit and healthy, like developing a regular sleep routine, aiming for a healthy diet, taking lunch breaks, so going for a walk, getting some exercise before or after work. Psychological self-care can help you feel clear-headed and able to engage with your workplace and personal challenges. And some examples are things like keeping a reflective journal, having regular meetings with supervisors, turning off your email and work phone outside of working hours, and making time to be with your friends and family outside of working hours. And emotional self-care can allow yourself to express emotions as they develop. Developing friendships, supportive is a good way of helping with that. Maybe even writing down perhaps 3 good things that you did each day. together, or sitting and having a coffee together, or playing a sport together, or talking together after training and sessions about how you're coping with the demands of work and life. Spiritual self-care helps you to develop a sense of perspective beyond that day-to-day life, and it can include religion, but it's not always about religion. Engaging in reflective practices like meditation, or going for walks to connect with nature, doing yoga, or if you are religious, going to a church, mosque, or temple can be very helpful. And relationship self-care, so maintaining healthy and supportive relationships, ensuring that you're not only connected to work people. Some examples are in prioritizing close relationships in your life, maybe attending special events with your family and friends, and arriving to work and leaving on time if you're able to each day as well. So the Palliated Self-Care Plan is a downloadable document, and if you're able to do some work on there and just have a little bit of self-reflection time on how you can help yourself and look after yourself. And it will actually help you as well with your colleagues too, because if you notice any of your colleagues are struggling, you're able to talk to them about your experience of doing this activity, and maybe even directing them to the LDAC self-care website might be helpful too. We're just going to take a bit of time as a live group to go through the entirety of the Champion course, and it's just going to be an opportunity for any questions to be asked about any of the topics that we've covered over the last 6 months. If you are watching the recording and you have any questions, please do just feel free to email myself or Rose, or call us, or touch base with us in any way you like, and ask us those questions. That's what we're here for. If you want any further or more in-depth education around any of these areas in your facility or over Zoom, also touch base with us. Some key points that we've taken away from the last 6 months are that the good assessment skills are paramount. Don't underestimate your presence as a source of comfort for the resident and their family. Look at both non-pharmacological and pharmacological management of symptoms. Having regular conversations with residents about their end-of-life wishes is important, and use a team approach. Work together as a team is going to optimize your care for your resident. So I want to have a chat with the live guys now, but even just some self-reflection for those watching the recording at home, about what changes that you've made or are you going to make in your facility that will bring positive values in palliative care to your facility. From any of the modules that we've looked at, has there been anything that you've particularly taken away, and what is it you're going to share with your facility that is going to improve the palliative care within that facility? Being a champion is a great role and responsibility, because you're going to be that resource in the facilities that people are going to want to come to ask advice on how to best manage your residents, and where to go for information if they need it, and also you just leading the way for positive culture of palliative care being a core skill in aged care, and something that happens on a day-to-day basis. Sorry, that's my cat. If there's anything you'd like us to cover next, please let us know. And also, if you're having any struggles or anything as a champion ongoingly, can you just give us a call or an email and let us know how we can best support you? We are going to be continuing some catch-up sessions for you guys, so that you can get together and have a chat about anything that you sort of come across over the next year or so, any new topics in palliative care that come up, or any scenarios within the facility that you work in that you want to just go through and see if there are you know, other ways that you can go about things, or any ideas. So the third Thursday of each month, which is what we're currently doing, but from 2 until 3 o'clock, we're just setting aside an hour where we'll jump onto Zoom and be available to any of you to drop by and just ask us any questions, or talk about clients, and just work together. Any education opportunities that come up, we'll also bring them up there. However, I have linked in the email that I sent, that I'll send out with this recording, the Centre for Palliative Care's education and training pathway, which shows that if you really enjoyed this sort of taster of palliative care, and you want to really deep dive more into palliative care and the skills, that there are lots of resources out there that you can go to in order to get like a deeper knowledge in palliative care. And also PEPA placements are available for people who might want to spend a bit of time one-on-one with a palliative care service, and equally reverse PEPA placements, which brings palliative care people into your facility, are available. And if it's something that you as a facility want to talk about, then yeah, just give us a ring, send us an email, and we can talk about what that would look like, and set you up with some further development. It's been an absolute pleasure to spend some time with you guys over the last 6 months, and I do hope that you continue to drop in and catch up with us each Thursday in the afternoon. And yeah, also maybe we could get some one-on-one time. So yeah, shoot us an email, let us know what you need. We can bring out some education resources to your facility and come and see you in person. Hope you have a lovely day, and send us your homework and we will get your certificates, and we have some little goodie bags as well for those that have completed all of their homework that we're going to send out to people. So yeah, send us through that stuff, and we'll get those certificates and those goodie bags out to you. Have a lovely day.